There were over a dozen of these platform pyramid structures, all facing north-northeast in accordance with the celestial aligning of the sun rising on the solstice, so they had to be man-made.
It looks like an entranceway, so maybe it's an entranceway to where they buried their deceased.
There were these deep grooves etched into the terrain, clear indications of water erosion. This was a necropolis, pretty close to being aligned with perfect east. If this was the resting place for elite persons, I'd probably bury someone at the highest point.
It does look scorched.
This could also be erosion caused by the oxidation of the minerals in stone after being inundated by water.
Found it. This is a burial.
What happened here? When did it happen? And did it force the cultures living here to abandon this site? Alright, quick recap. So a friend initially sent me this location in Peru, and after investigating it, it was undeniable to me that these here were the remnants of ancient structures. There were over a dozen of these platform pyramids. They were all oriented facing north-northeast, again, which accounts for the celestial alignment of the sun rising in this direction on the solstices, and this is uncommon in the construction of architecture by ancient cultures. And therefore, it was a clue to me that these had to be indeed ruins. So I made the arduous journey to check these things out, much of which you can see in these two prior videos I made. Definitely not a requirement to watch those first, but they are worth checking out if you haven't, because I directly explore the structures, so I'll link them below. But for review, this is what I saw. If you do end up circling back to those other videos, I reveal that this place had an exploratory survey conducted in the late 70s, early 80s, but beyond documenting things, no real invasive archaeological excavations were conducted. Even the lead archaeologist of that survey has been quoted as saying this was always a place he wanted to return to conduct investigations, but he never had the chance. And it's not an easy place to get to at all, and it took me hours just to hike to the location itself after driving for several more on top of that. So it's not a shock to me that this place hasn't gotten much attention. Now, after exploring the majority of the complex and the surrounding area, I had not seen any signs of looting pits or remains, which was pretty atypical for a site in Peru, so I was wondering where the inhabitants were. Studying Google Earth, I saw this one area here that seemed like it might have some looting pits, and this other area with these stone-looking slabs, which also appeared to have looting pits near them. But first I went to this section here. And these were indeed looting pits. There were bone fragments and pieces of pottery. Looters had definitely ransacked this location. Given there was only one other spot with apparent looting, the spot near those stone slabs, I wondered if I was standing in the burials of the common people, and if the ones near those stone slabs were the more elite members of the society. I mean, that would make sense to me, as this one here was out in the open, and the other one seemed to be much more isolated and even revered behind those stone slabs. Time to put that hypothesis to the test. Along the way, I came upon this temple structure here, and this other square-shaped structure. And this was actually one of the few times I managed to get the drone in the air because it was so windy at the site. These structures were carved out of the bedrock itself, similar to the Great Sphinx at Giza, and this was another layered platform pyramid. There was another structure here with a platform-looking square base. And then this mountain near that other temple looked like it was leveled off, almost as if whomever constructed both of these had began working to make another pyramid structure but suddenly abandoned it. While I was using the drone to film these, I started noticing these deep grooves etched into the landscape. This was water erosion, and it was cut deeply into the bedrock, which indicated some pretty violent episodes in prehistory to me. Could this be evidence of cataclysmic flooding? Or could this be from one of the many mega El Niños that were known to have forced cultures to abandon their settlements along the coast and move further inland? The ocean is a solid 2.5 miles from where I'm filming right now. It's beyond those mountains you can see here, so the force it would take for currents to overcome those mountains and pour into this area here is epic. Now, I'm not a geologist, but it almost seems as if some of these patterns could have been caused by water flowing out toward the ocean from the Andes, which could indicate severe flooding of the river that once flowed through this valley, or perhaps even tsunami patterns where the water and debris receding carved out these tributaries throughout the region. And if you come directly to the opposite side of the mountainous area here, closer to where the land meets the water, you can see those same patterns, and perhaps these are simply the natural paths water would take coming off the incline of the mountains, but the direction of the capillaries, in combination with other severe weather patterns etched into the terrain all throughout this region, gives me a bit of pause, especially since scientists have now factually proven that over the course of millennia, the coast of Peru has been bombarded multiple times by massive tsunami events. What happened here? When did it happen? And did it force the cultures living here to abandon this site? Is this why some of the structures seemed unfinished? So many unanswered questions that, to me, at least warrant future thorough investigation.
Time to reapply some sunscreen because I'm about to go hike in that place where all the pyramids are, because there's a spot where it looks like there's some megalithic stones perhaps, but also some looting. So I'm curious to see why there's been looting there. That seems a little strange to me. And if they are megalithic stones, it looks like an entranceway. So maybe it's an entranceway to where they buried their deceased.
As I further explored the area, I ended up approaching those stone slabs from this area over here. I was entering the hollow between these mountains, and I would eventually come through the naturally forming little valley between them.
There's some of the looting pits I saw.
I was now in that first set of looting pits. As I made my way through it, it was pretty evident from the bones and holes in the ground that this area had been looted. Now, there wasn't much pottery at these particular pits, and I believe it's because the initial occupation period was pre-ceramic. You can see some depressions here in the landscape, and typically that indicates that a hole was dug at some point, and over time the environment has begun to fill it back in. I continued to snake my way through the alcove to come upon the slabs from behind them. I was assuming that the slabs themselves were guarding an entrance to this important burial site, because this was the only other location with indications of looting pits. You can see those slabs in the distance.
Here are the stone walls I found on Google Earth. Pyramid or a mound of some sort in the distance.
I only saw this while reviewing the footage, but from this angle, the drone was able to capture them at a distance. You could also see another one of those platform pyramid structures here.
Little piece of bone. Piece of bone. Pottery.
Now, as I drew near, my assumptions were confirmed. These were indeed looted burials. There were bone fragments and little pieces of pottery dispersed throughout.
All these little plots. Look at all these bones. I found it. This is a burial.
The slabs themselves seemed to be shaped from the bedrock, just like those platform pyramids were. But these appeared to be guarding an entrance to the burials tucked between these mountains. There was no doubt in my mind. This was a necropolis. All the pyramid structures I had seen earlier were oriented facing northeast, and so my intuition suggested that these slabs here might also have some sort of astronomical alignment, so I opened up the compass on my phone.
Y'all see that?
And it was shocking. This was pretty close to being aligned with perfect east. It was pretty undeniable, to me at least. Now, as I made my way back through the burials, I wondered if there was anything on the back ridge of these mountains, something that might have aligned with the entrance. I don't know, the thought I had is that I figured if this was the resting place for elite persons, I'd probably bury somebody very important at the highest point, overlooking everything. That was my hunch, at least. So I made my way up, and the view was surreal climbing up on the ridge. There was the ocean here on one side, and the Necropolis Valley on the other. And as I made my way closer to being aligned with that entrance from up here, I saw a depression. It might be hard to tell from the video, but there was a clear indentation in the ground, and it lined up almost directly with that entrance, all the way up here, which indicated to me that this spot has been looted before, or at least it was searched. And if that was the case, it almost had to certainly be for somebody very important. As I kept walking along the ridge, I noticed these stone formations of the bedrock up here, and they were pretty remarkable. At first, I thought the discoloration I was seeing were petroglyphs, but upon closer inspection, that didn't seem to be the case. Again, I'm not a geologist, so I could be wrong, but the discoloration of the stone definitely seemed a little unnatural. I mean, it looked stained, almost like parts of it had been burnt.
It does look scorched, though.
Another possibility was that perhaps this was the result of torrential flooding, where the chemical reactions from sudden oxidation to iron-rich minerals and stone can leave that stone looking rusted or burnt. I mean, that would certainly fit with the water erosion that I had seen earlier that was etched into the landscape. But some of these marks looked awfully dark. Definitely leave any thoughts in the comments, but I couldn't help but wonder, what happened here? When did it happen? And did this force the people who once inhabited this land to suddenly abandon it? It's a well-known fact that over the course of millennia, cultures living on the coast of Peru were frequently inundated with these severe weather patterns that would render their lands inhospitable and uninhabitable. And it would force them to move further inland into the Andes Mountains. And then after some time, new groups would appear and they would reemerge and come down from the Andes and back to the coastal lands, usually reoccupying the same locations that their ancestors once did. And that's why at many of these locations, you'll end up seeing multiple construction periods from several different cultures. Again, definitely check out those other videos if you have the chance. This is an expansive site, and I end up exploring a lot of it, making it to several of these platform pyramid structures. And there's no doubt in my mind that there's still a lot of this site that's buried in the dunes. So I can only imagine what could be done with the proper funding and the proper resources. A couple things are undoubtedly clear, though. One, that this site is vastly ancient and likely dates back even earlier than that initial archaeological survey suggests. And the reasons for that assertion are in those other videos. The other thing that is undoubtedly clear is that this site and the area surrounding it at some point suffered some cataclysmic weather events. A professor reached out to me after watching one of the other videos and suggested that some of these pyramid structures seem to show signs of water erosion themselves, which means that they had to be there before any of these events came to pass. I'm just calling things out as I observe them and as they appear to be. So if you happen to know any geologists or anyone whose expertise is in any of the environmental arenas covered in this video, please send this to them. I would love to see where I might be onto something and where I might be off. And if there's things you agree with or see differently, please leave that in the comments. It is my hope and goal that as this channel grows, the connections and resources needed to better document, capture, and investigate these ancient, forgotten, lost locations can be achieved. They deserve so much more than just me, my phone, and my GoPro. And if that's something you're interested in supporting, there's a ton of ways to do just that, and those links will be in the description below. Whether it's through subscription services or purchasing cool, unique merchandise that I created for the channel, like this t-shirt, for example, or through direct expedition support. All of it will go towards documenting, capturing, and preserving these ancient sites. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.